One of the overriding things that I think about with tech all the time, Khalil, is this. Are you better served to have your processes and your workflows worked out manually, piece of paper, however you do it, and then buy software that automates that for you, or to go buy software that your buddy told you about that does everything, then try to figure out what it's telling you to do if you follow its systems, right?
Yeah,
So
there's no
which
easy.
one drives which?
Sure. There's really no easy answer here. It depends on a lot of factors. I would say one, it depends on how established you are as a business. If you've got a process that you've been using for years, and works, and your team's trained on it, then you probably want to go with finding the software that you can tweak and use to fit your process more or less. If you're just starting out and you don't have systems and processes, there's a lot of value in finding the software that already has that ingrained into it. Now, that being said, this is something that you'll have to continually revisit over and over again because softwares change. They always get improvements and updates, but also your business changes. You change your products and services, you create new systems and processes. You start prioritizing different metrics inside your company that you need to track, and that might mean different software, right? So over time, it's going to evolve, and that's why a tech stack audit process is really valuable. But then also, you want to make sure that you're being true to who you are, right? You want to be true to who you are in each moment, and that's going to evolve as you're going to change. So the software is going to change, you're going to change. That's why it's a continual process. All that being said, I'm going to give the kind of the blanket answer that I shouldn't give. But for most people out there, right, they should choose a software that has a system, right? Because they're probably not going to spend the time and the energy necessary to create their own system in the software. And so if they find a tool like Buildertrend that has, workflows embedded into it that you follow and that, you can add some customization, but it's really minimal, just follow that, right? Use the template because that's going to be better than what most people are currently doing. So that's the blanket one, but there's nuance to everything. And so maybe that's not the best thing to do.
Well, here's another one for you. We've talked about project management, financial management, accounting, customer relationships, document management,
Mhm.
communication, time tracking, estimation and bidding, workspace, all these things that we're going to use software for. There's such a
Yeah.
thing as an ERP, which I think stands for Enterprise Resource Process. I don't know what it stands for,
Mhm.
but it is a system that purports to do everything. In other
Mhm.
words, you put all your data in one time and it will go over and affect payroll, and it'll affect invoicing for customers, and it'll fit
Yeah.
the job. And uh, there are certainly companies that run on ERPs. I'm interested in what your thoughts are for our listeners about trying to get. Uh, I mean, I certainly have my opinions, but
Yeah.
somebody trying to say, well, why can't I get one that just does everything? And their
Yeah.
attempts to
So
do that.
there are very few instances that I've seen an ERP truly work. And the only instances that I've seen where it does work is that there is a key person who is responsible and capable of managing the ERP. When you have that person, you are very capable of using the ERP. Now, finding that person is very difficult and very costly. So I'll give you a couple of different instances where I know that it works, and a couple instances where I know that it doesn't work. Okay. The let's start with the instance that doesn't work. The ERP that's out there that someone's built and requires you to have a consultant to ongoing maintain the ERP and, you know, set people up, troubleshoot, answer questions, train people, whatever. That usually doesn't work and it's extremely expensive. We're talking, you know, potentially six figures, at least five figures to adequately do that with that consultant. between what you're paying for the ERP and what you're
A
paying for their
year.
time to
Yeah.
actually manage it.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, yeah, I'm a year for sure. I was thinking more monthly.
Oh, okay.
You're
Yeah.
looking at,
Well,
you know,
yeah, that's
10,000,
different.
10,000 to 20,000 is like kind of a baseline of it actually working, and you have the full support that you need ongoing to use that ERP. So for some organizations that can work. Now, but I would say that most of the time does not, right? Because you don't have someone internal that owns it. There's not a lot of buy-in. There's always challenges with it. And so people get frustrated with it, and they've got to talk to this consultant who's already booked because he's working with other people. It's just kind of a mess. Now, if the other instance that I've seen work is where they hire full-time developers who manage the ERP, and even just one, and that person builds out the ERP, they make updates to it, they're troubleshooting, they're adding features, and they manage the ERP. That can work, especially if you find the right person. The only challenge with that is that if that person leaves, now you've got to go and find someone to replace that developer who understands the framework and the foundation of how the ERP was built, which takes time to learn. And then they are in charge of it, and they may have a different philosophy around ERPs. They may have a different way that they code or that they structure things. And so now you're dealing with, you've got a really key person that you've got to keep, or you have to document really, really well how they manage the ERP, right? So that's the other challenge. Then the last one that has worked that I've seen is with Jeff Finney, Ultimate Cabinets. He built his ERP, right?
Right.
And while that is a way that it can work, it's not for everybody. He is a unique individual who has a passion for being efficient and optimizing his business. And, you know, he's unique in that. So he built his ERP out and he runs it all through Google Drive, and it's a bunch of spreadsheets and it just
Yeah.
works. Now,
And Trello. And Trello.
and Trello,
Trello
yeah, and
for
he has some other tools there as well. I don't, but its foundation is Google Drive, so it can work. But he's put in years of work into that. It didn't happen overnight, and he's dedicated and passionate about it, so it works for him. Now, you could argue, you know, yes, that's proprietary technology, which adds value to his business, but is someone going to be able to come in and update that in 3 years if he exits his business and actually make it run as efficiently as he did? I don't know. I don't know it that well, but that's the ERP. Most, I would say 99.9% of the people listening to this do not need an ERP.